The most pressing issues facing us this election all have an impact on our families. Issues such as the economy, taxes, education, healthcare, and mining. We tend to look at each of these issues separately, but in many ways they are all connected. Within those connections, we can find solutions. Allow me to elaborate. Education. As a mom of 2 college students, 2 high schoolers, a middle schooler, education is always first and foremost on my mind. I believe the most important key to success in a kid's education is parental involvement. Speaking from experience. As a parent, like many, I need to know that when my kids, and yours, show up for school, that the best and brightest are teaching them, that their learning environment is conducive to high achievement, and that it's a positive and supportive experience for them. This I know will produce the best and brightest students that Minnesota has to offer. There are 3 major challenges in education in Minnesota. 1, although we're making progress, sadly, Minnesota has one of the nation's worst achievement gaps between white and non-white students. 2, nearly a third of first-year college students in Minnesota need remedial coursework. And 3, by 2018, 70% of all jobs in Minnesota will require some level of post-secondary education. And speaking of post-secondary, my biggest worry, and I hear this from many in 7A, is paying for college. With 2 in college now and 1 more entering next fall, our tuition bill is through the roof. As your representative, here's what I would propose at the Capitol. Rather than continue to tax Minnesotans, let's grow the tax base. I'll touch on this issue shortly. A growing tax base includes job creation, which our college grads so desperately need. Supporting mining projects in northeastern Minnesota. Not only does mining fund education, it creates great paying jobs. How about a tuition freeze until the economy improves? Just a thought. I would also propose giving a tax incentive to companies that offer, for example, $10,000 to top candidates as a hiring bonus, with money going toward paying down the new employees' college debt. The state could offer assistance to help people to be better consumers in the form of an educational program for students on how to select college, build and follow a budget, and understand college expenses and loans. Make this a high school economics class requirement for graduation. Earning college credits in high school could help more students finish college in 3 years instead of 4, thus reducing their debt burden. High schools could encourage students further to participate in Minnesota's post-secondary enrollment option program, which allows them to take classes for free at any post-secondary institution in the state. And lastly, allow parents a tax credit for saving for college up to $3,000 a year. 16 states are already doing this. And offer sales tax-free weekend on educational expenses. Healthcare. Minnesota had a nation-leading healthcare system that worked, yet it has been replaced by an untested and dramatically more expensive system. By 2016, our state will have spent over $330 million just to fund MNsure's website and infrastructure without spending $1 in actual healthcare. A super agency of unelected officials with power to spend taxpayer dollars will control the entire health insurance market, which threatens the free marketplace of healthcare choice. This is not good for middle-class Minnesotans and small businesses, as they will see their healthcare choices limited, rising costs, and their private data jeopardized. Minnesota is a broken promise and a broken website. According to a June 2014 report by the Manhattan Institute, Obamacare in Minnesota brought an average increase of 47% to health insurance premiums throughout the state. 40 of the 87 counties, 46%, experienced premium increases of over 70%. And 13 of those 87 counties, 15%, experienced increases between 99 and 200%. MNsure claimed that 270,000 would enroll in the individual insurance market by 2014. But according to the June 2014 Shattuck report, only 42,000 persons actually enrolled. This is 84% below projections. Unlike every other state agency, MNsure has not produced a detailed budget so Minnesotans know how their precious tax dollar is being spent. Yet we gave their top employees $25,000 bonuses. $160 million has been spent on a broken website and a flawed program that has broken virtually every promise made about it. As your representative, here's what I would propose at the Capitol. Prioritize the most pressing needs within the Health and Human Service budget, which grows at a rate of 12% a year. Reform how we deliver services and require HHS funding to be based on real dollars rather than on budget shifts from unsustainable funding resources such as the Healthcare Access Fund, whose source of funding will be eliminated by 2019. Release health insurance premiums by October 1st so voters have a very clear idea about the cost of their health care before stepping into the voting booth. Allow the legislature to set the budget for MNsure and approve all appropriations, not some unelected board, and bring more transparency to its operations. And require background checks for navigators to ensure the protection of citizens' privacy matters. Taxes. Minnesota doesn't have a revenue problem, it has a spending problem. For years, our state budget has grown faster than the rate of inflation. State government spending has grown twice as fast as the state's economy for 25 years. And in 2013, the DFL raised taxes on Minnesotans to the tune of $2.1 billion, the largest tax increase in the history of the state. We were promised property tax relief in exchange for this historical tax hike. However, out of the $1.2 billion surplus projected for fiscal year 14 and 15, as a result of the new taxes, only $546 million of the surplus will go back to taxpayers. Thankfully, the $400 million portion of the $2 billion tax hike on businesses was repealed, making the original hike closer to $1.6 billion. But if you do the math, that's still a tax hike, it's not tax relief. According to the Tax Foundation, Americans will spend more on taxes in 2014 than they will on food, clothing, and housing combined. For Minnesota, that means it takes roughly 4 months for its citizens to pay their tax bill, federal, state, and local, before they meet their other obligations. I will work to implement common sense policies that restore fiscal responsibility and lower our tax burden. We can grow our state revenue by growing our economy, not by overtaxing people. As your representative, here's what I would propose at the Capitol for starters. A sales tax-free holiday weekend for education expenses. The education savings accounts, which allows families to take the first $6,000 a year, put it in an account tax-free. And ensure that the business-to-business sales tax remains repealed. Clean and responsible mining. Mining has a huge economic impact on our region with the initial potential of creating hundreds of great paying jobs for families. 360 full-time jobs, 600 more related jobs, 2 million construction hours, and increased tax revenue that benefits our communities and education system. It's time to support our region's families and communities by putting folks to work. I believe it's irresponsible to import these metals from other countries and export our jobs when we can mine safely here in Minnesota. Did you know that any revenue that the state receives from mining activities on these lands goes directly to the Minnesota Permanent School Fund? The interest and dividends from the fund are then distributed to every school district in the state. Currently, the fund is valued at about $740 million. However, the DNR estimates that the fund could grow by more than $2.5 billion in the coming decades if proposed projects like Twin Metals and PolyNet become a reality. Mining is a huge economic development boost by providing jobs and generating millions of dollars in state and local taxes. As a mom, our economy. As a mom of 5, a community volunteer with a background in economic development, and a taxpayer, I'm greatly concerned about the economic future of Minnesota. Whereas we are a state with a hardworking labor force and a fantastic quality of life, our state is also one of the highest tax, highly regulated states in the union. When I hear of companies closing their doors, I worry that our state's policies will turn our children into economic refugees seeking jobs outside our state. Between high taxes and impossible permitting process, the legislature has created a hostile environment for business owners to start, build, and expand. Businesses pay taxes, create good paying jobs, and therefore support prosperity for all Minnesotans. I'd like to take my experience as an economic development representative for the Department of Trade and Economic Development and take it to the Capitol And I've also recently won the endorsement of the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce as a result. So I'd like to see I got a minute, so now I'm summarizing the last couple pages here. I'd like to reduce our tax burden, make our regulatory process a little less burdensome, and just make Minnesota a better place to do business. At the end of the day, it's about sending a representative to the Capitol who understands that all of these issues are interconnected and affect our families. Our families in 7A deserve a representative in St. Paul who doesn't just crunch the numbers as an economist would do, but one who will take action and the experience to do so. That person is Becky Hall, and I ask for your vote November 4th. I appreciate your attention tonight. Please check out hallinthehouse.com for further details on the issues that matter to families in 7A and my ideas to address them. Thank you so much for your time.